Hey guys, I'm Hiya back on this industry, and today I'm gonna be making somewhat of a special video because this is my 400th video, and like I never thought I'd make it this far, 400 videos in less than 8 years or 7, something like that. And it's all thanks to you guys, so seriously, thanks for sticking with me through all the ups and downs. I'm very grateful, and because of that, I planned on making like a transition into a new phase of my channel, because a lot of you guys might not know my academic background or what I'm doing right now, so I thought this would be a nice opportunity to share that as well. So yeah, today's video is special, not just because it's 400th, but also because I wanted to share something super personal and honestly kind of mind-blowing. So you know how sometimes you have those moments where everything just clicks, like all the random ideas floating in your head suddenly makes sense? Well, that's what happened to me, and this is not really just another idea, it's the idea for me at the moment, and I wanted to share it because why not? I do this when I'm not crafting. So yeah, before we dive into it though, I wanted to share something about myself. Like I said, I don't talk much here about my academic journey. I'm actually a first year physics major undergrad right now, and let me tell you, studying physics has changed my perspective. Everything, like the way I see, completely changed, because I knew physics was cool, but I didn't realize how much it's a language for asking the really big questions, like what is reality, or how do we actually see the world for what it is, right? So those are some very important questions, and honestly these questions have been on my mind for as long as I can remember. I even have some like old notes or papers I used to write, which I'll show them later on. But as I've studied and learned, I've started seeing connections and patterns and ideas that feel like they tie so much together. And yeah, this video is about that particular breakthrough idea that's been my obsession in the recent times. Now I have to admit, while this idea is mostly my own, it's been brewing in my head for a while, and I've been inspired by some amazing books that really helped me shape it. And you know how sometimes you read something and it feels like the author is speaking directly to you? Well, that's what happened with these books, and I wanted to share just in case they spark a similar interest in you guys. So yeah, let's cut to the chase. This background doesn't make sense either. It's like craft items, so I'll put these aside. I thought they looked cool. Now, the first one I finished in the recent years recent month actually, was this guy. And this isn't supposed to be an undergrad book, but I learned quite a lot of cool things about quantum mechanics, and specifically decoherence, and how it's a really cool phenomenon that explains most of the confusion in quantum mechanics, right? So, and another thing to balance the high level mathematics in this, I got from library of course, I got a very spiritual or psychological based book, and I think they went together well. I got the mathematics aspect and I also got the creative aspect at the same time, and I was able to merge them into something which I'll share later on eventually once I finish the introduction. So yeah, these two helped a little, and my plan was to also study this. Aside from that, I also got this one. It's the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know, I thought it'd be cool. I haven't read it though, it brought it from my parents, and I just got some ideas from it. I didn't read it myself, but they explained a little bit. So yeah, those are the books that helped me get my ideas together. And yeah, I don't really read books, but I don't know, this information theory thing is pretty tough, so I can't just think it through. I need some help from other authors. Let me quickly show you my craft items that might help communicate my idea even better. So here's two things. This one is a bit broken down. It's the maze game from the Maze Runner. I made it quite a while ago, so I wanted to showcase this because coming up with a new theory is like solving a maze. So you've got a couple of doors open. In this case you just have one. So these doors indicate sort of like the starting foundational principle, and using those principles you get to solve the maze and reach somewhere. So right, if you cross it till there, then that's the amount of knowledge you gained. And if you were able to go there and it got blocked, well, you just have to trace your steps back, and eventually you'll find the truth, perhaps. In this specific maze, there's like 4 or 5 solutions. I don't know. I forgot. I think 3. 3 might be the correct answer, because there's 8 total exit points, and 5 are bluffs, I think. Yep. No, that's not a bluff. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked a lot. Basically, finding a new theory or solving a philosophical question you have is like solving a maze. So, and philosophies are just ideologies you hold, so solving them will help you think more wisely in your own line of work, because everyone needs to think for their own, like, they all have different perspectives on the world, so other people telling you what to do, that won't work. You gotta figure it out yourself, solve your own maze yourself. Right, so that's the basic idea from the maze. And this thing right here is a JWST model I tried making using a concave mirror. Now, the thing I want to focus on this specific model is the concave mirror, because my analogy rests mostly on a concave mirror. So I'll talk about that later. Basically, the maze refers to you all have to solve your own maze, and this mirror refers to you all need to know that you're looking through your own personal mirror, if that makes sense. I'm gonna explain about that later on. Yeah, so as you can see, there's this is the gist of it. I'm gonna be talking about my ideas in this video, so yeah, if you don't want to listen to them, you're free to leave anytime. And here's something really special I just wanted to show as well. These are my old notes. These are the ideas I jotted down years ago when I was just starting to think about all these questions. So looking back at them now, it's so cool to see how far these little scribbles have come. Alright, it's like seeing the seed of an idea grow into something much bigger. Now right here I've got it's not fiction really, it's like a different kind of model. I don't want you to read that, nor do I want you to, oh actually this one's not that bad. I made a poem about this one as well, so, and I'll link my website down in the description box below in case you want to read the poems. So if I have a really good idea, then I usually tend to write it down in a poem format. I wonder what this one is. Oh, this one's wrong, that's just not good. And there's one more. Actually there's a couple more, but I'm not going to show all of them. There are a lot of theories, if I can even call them that. They're not even hypotheses. And right here, probably in this page, you can see that's me. This one's my model of the universe. It's a little article I published a year ago. Now we return to the more recent stuff. And okay, I need to pull it out. So recently I've been writing a paper digitally, so I can't show that here. And I also send it for a journal, send it to a journal. And that was based on this another little paper I wrote about a year ago, I think. Now these are just ideas, they're not really papers at all, and yeah, it's pretty thick. It's very, very thick, and I even lost a whole pen writing this thing. So yeah, so I've been thinking, right? That I think that just shows I've been thinking. I don't know how much of it is right, how much of it is wrong, but I've been busy thinking. This is the moment I've been waiting to share with you, the big breakthrough idea, and the breakthrough that has been sitting in my mind like a puzzle in the maze, just waiting for the right moment to click. Alright, so let's get over there where I have my blackboard sticker on the wall, and I'll promise to keep it simple, no complicated equations, just a visual breakdown of how it all comes together. So yeah, let's go over there. Alright, so I've got this whiteboard. It's not a whiteboard, it's a blackboard sticker right there. It extends all the way from bottom to the top, and you guys can only see about this much of it. So I've had this for like 8 or 9 months, but haven't really used it much. Just played some Pictionary and wrote down a couple of formulas I had to remember. But I did use it for some thinking in the beginning, and whenever I got new ideas from this blackboard, I used to write them down on this paper. So actually you don't need to see that at all, so I'll just move the camera away from that a little bit, just so you can see this better. So it looks like you guys can see from here till there. Okay, that's good. So let me warn you again, this is a very, very philosophical model. So here's how I look at things, alright? So I've got a symbol, let's say S, right? There's always a symbol, like in alchemy, and in our particular case of the universe, it's got two parts. One's psyche, and the other is physics. From physics comes chemistry, then biology, and and from psyche it's mostly philosophies and also like art, stuff like that. Actually, and physics can be represented with mathematics, and it's a theory of matter mostly. And psyche cannot be represented properly, except it can be represented using grammar, right? I should use a different color, this is not good. Alright, I've got a tiny one, so let me erase that. Alright, matter for physics and mind for psyche. So physics is explained using mathematics, while psyche is explained using grammar. So that's the basic premise of this whole model, and what I want to do is join them and actually see what's going on behind the scenes. I can't figure out what S is yet though, the symbol remains a mystery, but I think I've got a cool little model which will help you visualize both of these in a single thing. And that model uses concave mirrors. So I said about concave mirrors earlier, right? So let me draw one real quick. Now these are some of the basic things you learn in school, like around 7 or 8 grade, and you draw them like this, right? So what's a concave mirror in our model? It's basically your mind's framework, so how you view things. And you always view through a concave mirror instead of viewing through, let's say, a real object, viewing a real object through transparent glass. You always view sort of a reflection. And if I use that idea, or assume that's the case, then I'll reach some pretty mind-blowing conclusions. So let me draw the center line, and let's say there's a focal point right there, and there's the other C, so use the right F right there. So basically what I found is using this model and another assumption, which is that light in this model is everything that holds the information about stuff. And using just those two facts, you get to pretty realistic scenarios on physics and psyche. So let's take an object, an arbitrary object right over here. So let's say there's a thing right there, and when you try to see its reflection, let me see if I remember how to do it. You do that, and then probably like this, right? So you can see the gist of it is that it's on the same side, and the image, so if this is the object and this is the image is actually real because it's on the same side, which means you can obtain it on a screen, just like physics. So this object is a physical object in your general sense, because you can obtain it on a screen using mathematics or whatever and show them to someone else. So that's very much a real thing. Now on the other hand, let's take an object between the focus and the center of the mirror right over there. So here's the light ray going to the focus. Now the other one reflects from the center. That's how we were taught, and it meets somewhere here, let's say. So here you can clearly see that though the images are upright, which I don't know what that means yet, the object and image lie on different side of the mirror, meaning this one's virtual. You can't obtain it on a screen and show it to someone else. So that's exactly like your psyche. That's exactly how mind works. Whatever the object you have between these two places, between the focus and the mirror, all those objects tend to produce virtual images, just like how your mind does. So basically this region right here, between the focus and the mirror, is like your mind, and there's like infinite number of places your object can be, and so is there infinite number of places your object can be outside the focus, because in a number line 0 to 1 has infinite fractions or real numbers between them, and so does 0 to, let's say, infinite, right? But obviously these two infinities aren't equal, and they are pretty complex theorems showing that, but you get the point. Both of them are pretty infinite at a glance. So that's my breakthrough, and yeah, you can look at it like this. And there's one cool thing you can do using this model. Now, if you remember the cases for optics, let's draw the mirror again, and here's the focus, let's say, and if you have an object at infinite distance away, which means pretty far, doesn't have to be infinitely far, then you obtain an image at the focus, right? This is how we used to do. Now what does this mean? This means that a observer looking at it will see whatever the observer sees at the focus is actually a projection from far away, so like from infinite distance away. And this principle actually lines up pretty nicely, pretty neatly with a holographic principle, with the holographic principle in a de Sitter space instead of the anti-de Sitter. That's what I think, at least, because coming from far away doesn't necessarily imply a curvature that's closed. Rather, it looks open. I don't know, I can't explain it just yet. I'm still thinking about that. That's beside the point, though. You can see that there's something at the focus, if this is the focus, there's something at the focus that seems pretty small, but has its own kind of like world. It looks big when you zoom in at that scale. And guess what's that? And I propose it's actually the quantum scale. So around this point, you'll start to see things turn quantum, and their properties become more and more visible, right? But according to this model, everything could be just the same size. It's just that how far from the mirror they seem different, and that's a wild thing to think about. I'm not quite satisfied with that either, but it is what it is. This just works. The conclusion right there is the focus is the quantum mechanics, and when seeing through your curved mirror, everyone has a different curved mirror, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. And when you see through your curved mirror, you see quantum mechanics at the focus of the mirror. And so that's for a concave mirror, right? Now there can also be different kinds of mirror. We haven't been trained to look through a flat mirror, and I don't know if that's good or that's bad, and I couldn't really care about that. I just wanted to show that the simple laws of optics we used to learn in school kind of relates back to the whole premise of what's the reality of consciousness and matter or stuff like that. But hey, I just said psyche does not obey mathematics. It obeys something different, like grammar, and that's why quantum mechanics fail. It's neither that, so it needs a bit of both. So quantum mechanics tend to be highly mathematical yet highly poetic. And in my point of view, let me share some other stuff that I think about. In my point of view, what we see through the mirror is just to make sense of what the objects we see are. So I don't really know what this axis refers to, or what in the mirror what this axis refers to. So those are going to be the next problems I tackle, but I wanted to share this much so it turns like it's like a safe point for me, so I can like rest assured that my ideas are out there just in case I perish, you know. So yeah, that's about it. That's how I see things right now. And there's this weird thing that symbols always turn into two, like psyche and physics, or good and bad, or yes or no, or positive or negative, like in charges, right? There's always two aspects. It could be like the laziness and the diligence, and anything in between we can be, but we can't be away from the spectrum. We are always confined between the spectrum. So we can't go beyond psych or beyond physics, but we can get to the middle where there might be quantum mechanics, who knows, yeah, stuff like that. So basically I wanted to share that we need to be aware of how our perception is shaping the way we see things. So yeah, so we're more aware and aware about the lack of knowledge we have, the lack of information we gain. Because another cool fact about this, which I've mentioned in the poem, is that you can't, just like you can't see all the spectrums of light and you're limited only to the visible range, you're also confined, you might also be confined to a limited spectra of light in this model, which would definitely lead you to conclude that your knowledge is limited and you can probably not ever understand some of this stuff. So yeah, about that I wanted to share one last thing, is that when we look at the quantum, right, let me draw, this is flat, let's say that's curved. So when we look at the quantum, which might be right there at the focus, and the lights are hitting like this, right, and if we look closer to it, our own heads or our own observing devices might block the light coming through, which means it will block the information. So that might be why the uncertainty principle exists. Yeah, that's basically my idea. Uncertainty arises due to your own shadows. So for example, there's a light right there and there's the mirror right here, and if I bring my head closer to it, you won't see it because your own head is covering the mirror. Alright, so I'll be using these two books as my background because I don't have anything other than these that's related to this topic. So yeah, let's begin.
In the void of the cosmos where silence hums, and the nexus of cells from which all else comes, lies the truth of a world we each must find, about the light, distance, time and mind. Not energy alone, nor mass in its play, but the essence of information guiding the way. A cosmic light, eternal and vast, bearing truths of both future and past. Its rays strike mirrors concave and sound, curving perception where meaning is found. And the curvature, both hyperbolic and round, depicts the characters of our universe profound. Each mirror a portal unique and defined, a world reflected, shaped by our mind. Objects appear, their size disguised, for distance from the mirror bends truth and alters our eyes. At the focal point, the quantum is seen, reflections of faraway holographically serene. Thus, when objects stray from this center, images seem small, a dance of proportions that governs them all. This cosmic light, both giver and thief, reveals and obscures in equal belief. Each ray bears truths, yet shadows may rise, as the bearer itself distorts what it tries. For in this plane the limits are found, our senses trap us, our shadows abound. We grasp for the whole, yet fragmented spectrums we find, truths half hidden, constrained not by matter but by mind. From polarities born, the dance does proceed, positive, negative, neutral, each field freed. Charged by the ideologies, particles abide, a path predetermined, no freedom to glide. Selfish in motion, yet laws they obey, exchanging their truths in a ceaseless ballet, for nothing is given without a return, a lesson of alchemy the universe learns. Existence itself, a phantom we chase, a measure of knowledge in time and space, not steps between nor a line we can draw, but the shared information is what we saw. Entanglement forms a union unseen where the distant and near share a common scene. No boundary remains in the mirror's embrace, for one shift resounds in the other's space. Beyond the mirror no eye can see, a realm unreflected where truths might be, not due to absence but lack of frame, for light unseen cannot bear a name. Time flows forth as information stream, a rate of exchange that shapes the dream. Its arrow is drawn by what we conceive as shadows recede and certainties weave. What we call now a fleeting spark, guided by shadows bound by dark, yet beyond perception a truth may reside where time and distance lose the divide. Each moment observed, each wave collapsed, the infinite potential forever entrapped, yet time itself is the mirror's art, reflected in minds a fractal start. So what is this mirror, this grand design that shapes the path of thought and time? It bends to the will of the cosmic light, yet shadows twist its perfect sight. Through the lens of the mind we seek and explore, questions unasked, yet we yearn for more. Each step forward into the realms unknown, the answers we'll find will be ours to own. From the rishis who gazed at eternal skies, to Buddha seeking truth with calm steady eyes, from philosophers pondering wisdom and mind, to mathematicians formalizing knowledge we find, from alchemists shaping mystery and form, to quantum physicists defying the norm. All roads converge to the same great thought, that truth is a dance not given but sought. Our minds, a universe vast yet veiled, can grasp the infinite those senses bind, a balance of opposites, a field of play, where psyche and physics find their way.
That's about it for this video, I think. I talked about the poem, I talked about the model, I talked about the academic journey, and by the way, the journey's just begun, so I don't know why I talked about that, but hey, you guys know now what I'll be doing in the next 8 or 9 years. So yeah, that's about it. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you got some inspiration to think, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video for more, comment me down below if you want any different ideas revealed from the blog or anything else. Then yeah, let me know in the comments and share my videos. Thank you, bye bye, see you in the next one.